Episode 11 of Spy Classroom is a great example of how a single episode can completely elevate a storyline. Also, spoilers. Spy Classroom is the story of a talented spy, Klaus, struggling to teach 7 washout spies to be good enough to complete impossible missions. He struggles to do that because he's so innately talented that he can't really explain anything to them beyond telling them to simply do it properly. In order to get around this, Klaus comes up with a special curriculum. If they get good enough as spies to make him admit defeat, then they'll have improved significantly. And so, moving forward, a lot of the story revolves around the girls' attempts to defeat him when they're not going up on missions. Contrary to what you might think when you take a look at the cast, however, this isn't a harem anime. Besides comedic failures at seduction, the show goes quite a while without actually trying to suggest that any of the girls feel any attraction to their mentor. Honestly, I was surprised, especially when it was established that he's only 2 to 3 years older than some of them. This is exactly what you'd expect from anime at this point. Paradoxically, that surprise made it so I was equally surprised when it was eventually revealed that Gret, codenamed Daughter Dearest, had a crush on Klaus. Also, I cannot promise that I will say his name consistently. After several episodes of dutifully avoiding any ideas of romance between the girls and Klaus, her sudden feelings for him were surprising, as was her forwardness about them. But what was more surprising was the way it was eventually used by the narrative in order to talk about the idea of love. Corpse was the supposed antagonist of their latest mission after the reveal of the crush, but in a story about girls learning to be spies, it only makes too much sense for their opponent to also be the student of a famous spy. Olivia never expected much in her life. She was born at the bottom and figured that would be her lot in life. But then an assassin threatened her and she was suddenly filled with a new emotion. One that could be called love, but I feel would be better described as excitement. Corpse, or Roland, and his lifestyle excited her. Gret's life was devoid of love. Because of the massive birthmark on her face, she had felt no love from her father, who abandoned her to be a spy. That abandonment made her desperate for affection, which spurred her to become a master of disguise in order to hide her blemish. It's why her codename is Daughter Dearest, and it was that desperation that made her so forward when it came to expressing her affection to the teacher who had called her beautiful despite the mark. And it made her desperate in order to help the master spy and showed her some of the burden of his work. And that's where the two differ. You know, besides on a moral level. Olivia saw her relationship with Roland as a thrill and not something she needed to work hard for. Gret, on the other hand, was willing to put in a lot more work than Olivia because love is a two-way street. And it's the difference in the effort they put in that made their confrontation go the way it did. While Olivia was physically skilled, tactically, all she could do was lazily copy Corpse's style to take care of her enemies.
精神に異常をきたし、たまたま客が持ち込んだ銃で殺し回った。その果てに飛び降り自殺。
自殺に見せかけるということですか。あんたにリリーとジビアを殺した罪を押し付ける。
Gret, on the other hand, had a whole strategy planned, taking advantage of her long-honed skill in order to overcome her predictable opponent. The idea of an attack filled with no hostility was one she learned from her team's numerous attempts to defeat their teacher, but the birthmark gambit was all hers. And it's only fitting that the reason for her affection for Klaus, him calling her beautiful, was not simply because of the fan servicey walking in on someone naked trope, but because upon seeing her birthmark, he began to understand just how much she'd honed her skill, and he found that beautiful. In the end, Olivia and her shallow excitement couldn't stand up to Gret's determination. If Olivia was better prepared, she wouldn't have fallen to pieces so hard over realizing that Roland had been defeated and wouldn't be able to save her. And yet, despite that, Klaus didn't love Gret. Not romantically. Where Olivia considered her sexual relationship with Roland something to brag about, Gret was already aware that Klaus didn't reciprocate her feelings. He only loved her as a member of his spy family.
He said it!
And I think that, more than any other distinction between the two women, is the reason why Gret was able to come out as the victor of their fight. And when you really look at it, the spy family, or more accurately, spy classroom that they'd built was actually a source of the love that Gret really wanted in her life. While she was trying to shoulder the burden of carrying the mission while Klaus was away, she was starting to buckle under the weight. But then with the support of her teammates around her, she was able to more easily control what was happening and trust in them to help her accomplish her plan. Because despite lacking the romantic love that she thought she wanted, Gret did find a family that loved her, and it included Klaus, but it also included all the girls around them. Girls that were willing to support her and even help her in her attempts to seduce their teacher, even though she'd initially believed that she might have to fight them for his affection in the first place. This isn't really a harem anime, at the very least not yet, and honestly, I think it's a lot better for it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and tell me your thoughts on the anime in the comment section below, and subscribe for more content. Thank you and good day.